Let's go.
I'm drinking a pile driver tonight.
Nice. What's in that? What's a pile driver?
So a screwdriver is vodka and orange juice. This has dark rum.
Dark rum and orange juice?
Yeah, buddy.
Nice.
That's good. Yeah, it's messed up. I was about ready to adjust my hat, but then I saw all this stuff online about people doing something where they do this and then flick their hat, and it's like controversial or something.
Huh?
At least on TikTok it is. I don't know. I think it has something to do with.
Oh my God! Here we go.
It's a political thing, and
more of the deep state.
Yeah, it's something. It's all I know is that I went to adjust my hat, and I always do like this, you know. And I'm thinking, oh no, am I going to offend someone? Am I going to get us kicked off of YouTube for doing inappropriate hat gestures? I don't know.
For flicking your hat.
Yep. Boom.
Fuck them.
Yeah, it's insanity. I am marginally concerned at the lack of people showing up here tonight. It is Thursday. It is almost 8 o'clock. What's going on? Are we being boycotted?
That's right.
Man.
See, you offended people with your hat gesture.
We didn't offend Steve.
Steve is here.
Hey.
Good evening, Steve and Shelly and Wayne.
Mr. Hudson, Miss Shelly D. I'll tell you what. So I wanted to mix this drink in, you know, what is it? A highball glass. I don't even know the names of the glass. So basically it's like a rocks glass. Mm-hmm. And so I poured my 1 part vodka, my 1 part rum.
Do you measure or do you eyeball it?
So I have like what do they call it? A jigger. It's like it's like a shot glass kind of a thing. It's metal. It's 2 different sizes, 1 on each side. I don't remember how much is in each one.
Single and a double.
Yeah. So it's basically, it was a double shot of vodka, a double shot of rum. And then I had my big giant ice sphere in the glass and I put it in and I realized, well, damn, I don't have any room for orange juice. So I had to swap it into another glass just so I could finish mixing up the drink. And then I started thinking, man.
I think I need one of those things because I think my eyeballs are bigger than they should be when I eyeball my drinks.
Right. I do that.
And I end up drunk all the time.
Well, it's a good thing Steve doesn't get offended. He's here for the photography. Good. I think we have some of that tonight. In addition to drinks, I guess. Hey, what's up, John? How's it going? Well, I'll give it another minute before we drum roll and get rocking and rolling here. It's kind of quiet tonight.
That's right.
The world is in a state of shock still. Hopefully we can get past that stuff and get back to a normal life.
Right. I'm ready.
Amen. Me too. So I've got these monitors in, and when I'm drinking and I'm swallowing, all I can hear is all this like fluid sound in my mouth. Does that come through in the mic?
No, we don't hear that.
Good. Gosh, I was about ready to get grossed out.
What kind of yeah, I gotta get this chair adjusted right. What kind of monitors are those?
Oh, dude. So I did some research and I was looking at Shure and they're like $300. I'm not trying to spend $300 on that. So I did some digging around on YouTube and I found this cheap brand that all these people were recommending and they sound fantastic.
They're like, how much were they?
Like 25 or $30.
Really?
They're good. They fit super good. And they come with like a half a dozen of the silicone tips. And then they come with memory foam tips. And then it also comes with the cords that have a microphone in them. So you could use them with your telephone.
Right.
I said telephone. Who the hell says telephone anymore? Good grief.
Old people.
Yeah, well, you know, it's tough being 27, Jerry.
Right. I think my headset's gonna die. I might as well go on and plug these in and get them swapped out before we get going.
Plug it in. Shelly, you trying to make me blush? All righty. So let's do this. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 153 of Mirrorless Minutes. Tonight's show is all about 2021. We're a couple of weeks in, and well, it's been chaos so far. But I think it's going to turn out good. I am optimistic, and I have a lot of faith in humanity. So, with
yes,
that said, yeah, it really has. And I mean, and with that said, I think. Us as photographers, I think we're always going to find a way to get outside and away from all of the craziness that we see on TV and just go start making photos. I mean, we can escape from it, at least, periodically from time to time with a camera. And that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight. Some of the plans, for 2021 moving forward. And those plans involve things with the website, giveaways, workshops, meetups, things like that. Hey, Mr. Helmer made it on tonight. Hello, Jason. And I think we might talk about a couple of pieces of gear that may be on the horizon for us, and then some of the stuff that's
we were just talking about that,
out,
dude.
Right. So let's just kick off with the big things. So like workshops, that's really something that I really wanted to talk about tonight. 2020 was a bust. I mean, there were no workshops in 2020, and that really stunk. I know Jerry and I had a lot of big plans to put together a couple of big workshops, and that all fell through. I had a workshop planned with Mark Miller that fell through. So none of it just worked at all, but I guess that gave us time to kind of sit back and reassess what we want to do with workshops, moving forward. And generally the workshops have kind of been more advanced workshops, I think. Even the ones we do in the UP, I mean, while I wouldn't consider them like super advanced, I mean, they weren't for a beginner. I don't feel like, I mean, you could come as a beginner, but it would probably be a little stressful. The hiking and the equipment setup, if you're not familiar with using tripods and filters and all of that, and the environments were pretty wild there. The workshop I did with Mark in Utah was not hard per se technically, but we did go over definitely some technical things. And again, a lot of hiking, and it was a lot of adventuring, and it was a bit much. So I think 2021, one workshop I can talk about now, at least the initial concept of it. Don't have a hard date yet. Again, some of that kind of sits up in the air because of COVID, but and that's actually going to be with my girlfriend. She's in the chat room, so if you guys want to bother her in YouTube in the chat, it's with Shelly. Her and I talked about getting together and doing something simple, something fun, something low cost, something short, like a day-long workshop. Might start off morning and stretch through into the evening, potentially the night, depending on weather and things like that. But we're looking at doing a workshop on Mackinac Island, and this would probably be more for beginners. But even if you're an advanced shooter, I still think you'd probably take something away from it. But there's no working title for the workshop, but it's going to be something along the lines of how to not shoot like a tourist. So basically, we want to take you to really what is one of the biggest tourist destinations in Michigan, and have you leave there not taking the shots like 99% of the people that show up there do. It's really easy to get someplace like that and get lost in the experience of being there and just pulling your camera up your eye and just shooting as you go. But we want to take you someplace like that for a day and have you coming out of there with not the touristy photos that everybody takes. It's going to cover a lot of topics, composition. It's going to be more advanced camera settings probably than you're used to as a very beginner. If you're more advanced of a shooter and understand your camera really well, then it's probably going to be more of a workshop where you're going to get out of your normal routine of shooting and learn how to see things a little bit differently. And I know that sounds really cheesy and cliche to say, learn to see differently, but it is a thing. And sometimes it takes being with other people, working with other people to get your head wrapped around that concept and actually get you doing that. So, that's one workshop that's going to be coming up on the horizon. I'm guessing midsummer to mid-autumn is probably the time frame we're looking at. And again, just like a 1-day workshop, really easy in, easy out. So that's one. I'm trying to get a couple of things working out with Jerry here on a couple with him this year. I know we did our first workshop together 2 years ago in the UP, and that was a blast. And I would say that was a very successful one. And we've got somebody in the chat room tonight, Jeff Zimmerl or Zim44. He could speak to that workshop. It was really fun. It, again, like an adventure workshop. You know, we did hiking and being in the water and in the rain and things like that. But I think everybody came away with great photos from Michigan's Upper Peninsula. And again, like I said, that was the first workshop I'd done with Jerry, and it was a blast. I think everybody had a great time. So Jerry and I are going to sit down and come up with a couple of workshops to do this year.
I got to leave and come back in, man.
All righty. So there's that. So that's a placeholder, I guess you could say. And then the I'm going to say it's the fourth workshop because I'm planning on 2 with Jerry for sure. Then the fourth workshop is probably going to be what I would call like my big workshop for the year. Excuse me. And that's going to be in Wyoming with Mark Miller. We're looking at going to the Tetons. I know I was just there last summer with my kids. And while that was a personal trip, that was, I mean, don't tell my kids, but it was 50% scouting for this workshop. So
there we go.
Really looking forward to that. And it'll be not super lengthy. I've got a little bit of information on it. But we're looking at August 5th, 6th, and 7th. And the 7th will be like a half day. So the 5th and the 6th will be full days, sunrise all the way through sunset. It's timed around a new moon. So Milky Way potential there, weather permitting, of course, in the mountains. And then on that last day, that's a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That last day, the Saturday, we'll all meet for sunrise, depending on if we stayed up, super late shooting Milky Way the night before or not. But we'll wake up on that last day, and we'll shoot sunrise together, and then have a breakfast before everybody heads their own ways. Timing on the workshop works out so that when the workshop concludes, it makes it easy for people to stay, for the rest of that day and maybe Sunday, and just have a little bit of their own downtime to do exploring on their own there. Or, of course, come in a few days before the workshop and do that before the workshop if you wish as well. So, again, that'll be in and around the Grand Teton National Park. Again, August 5th, 6th, and 7th. So more details on that coming soon. Just go over to the Mirrorless Minutes website, go to the workshops section, and we have a spot where you can put your email address in so you can get notified of when we do start putting these on the page. It's going to be the best way to find out if you're not a regular watcher or listener to this. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So this 2021 looks like it'll be a big year. Again, I plan on 4 full workshops, and that doesn't even include the meetups that we'll do in and around Michigan. So we'll have Michigan, and I know Jerry likes to travel, and he's done some trips to places that I've been wanting to go, like in Illinois and stuff like that. So might end up doing meetups or small workshops in those areas as well.
Starved Rock would be a cool place.
That's exactly the place I was thinking of. So again, I really encourage people to swing over to the Mirrorless Minutes website, go to the workshop section, and sign up so that you can get notified when the full details of the workshops go online. As always, I think we're keeping the workshops small. They're not going to be cram-packed full of people, so it'll be a lot easier to give a lot more individualized attention. In the past, we not gonna say we packed them full, but generally ran close to 10 people, and it's not hard to work with 5 people as an individual, but lessons learned over time, you find that people tend to want to stay clustered in one group. Everybody sees what the other people are doing. They kind of want to do that too. And so I think we're going to keep them just a little bit smaller, again, just to make it a little bit easier for everybody to be able to stay in a group, still get good shots where people aren't tripping over one another. It should be a really fun year.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we're kind of kind of counting on it. I don't know if I could spend another year like I did this past year. I really don't.
Yeah, you ain't lying, man. So what all did I miss while I was gone? Because I couldn't hear a word.
Basically, I just kind of went over the intro to the Grand Teton workshop.
Gotcha.
I had talked with Mark about Glacier National Park, and after digging into it more, we kind of discovered that if we were going to do something at Glacier, we would have probably had to have started planning it last summer. It's hard to find lodging for this autumn now. So you really need to be booking rooms and planning it well in advance of that.
Right.
And so this is kind of how that worked out. So again, after talking with Mark, my trip to the Tetons this, last year, I felt like I covered enough ground while I was there to have a good idea of some places that I'd really like to take people and work with them throughout all times of the day.
Right.
And there's close proximity to Yellowstone. So again, if people are on their own time, if they come in early or stay later, then they can do that as well. So
right. Cool.
But that's really about it. Just talked about that and just talked about you and I getting hashed out the details of 2 workshops ourselves this year, and hoping, really wanting for at least one of the workshops that Jerry and I do to be another larger workshop like that, a little bit more of a destination workshop. So fingers crossed. 2020.
Arizona's sounding good, man.
What's that?
Arizona.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely some cool places in Arizona.
Or Pacific Northwest, man. Redwoods. Find a forest out there and go look for Bigfoot.
Yeah. So Bob said most of the big parks are getting that way. Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of like some of the more popular state parks in Michigan are. You have to book a year in advance to get a spot if you're going to stay there. So, and I'm seeing that now with some of the national parks. So yeah, that's 2021, you guys. That's some of the big plans as far as workshops go. And these won't, again, all be
Sedona, yes,
like paid excursions. I plan on doing meetups, but generally meetups tend to be more local. So, that'll be more Michigan based, or maybe getting down into parts of Ohio, Indiana.
Hockin Hills, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Russ Smith says Everglades.
No, thank you.
I actually know someone whose husband runs an airboat company near, I think he's near Vero Beach. So I could get us out. I could get us out into some swampy areas. I don't know. It might be a tough sell. I would do it just for the birding and the wildlife, but different strokes.
Right.
Yeah. So, hey, do you want to talk about that Nisi lens today? So our friend Mark Miller's an ambassador for them, and he was pretty pumped up on this new lens that Nisi's coming out with. You there?
Who are you talking to? Me?
Talking. Yeah. Nobody else can answer the question.
I didn't know that was a question.
Do you want to talk about it?
I mean, I didn't really dig too much into it, man. I don't even remember the focal length. It was what? 15 millimeters. F4.
F4.
And it's priced around what? 500.
Yep. I think $499.
Right.
Yep.
Not bad. I mean, you can. I think you can. A Rokinon's a better option.
I think so. I think the big selling point for it was that the aperture blades, 10 aperture blades, straight blades. So Nisi says that even at f4, you can get those starbursts in your light.
Right.
In the bokeh.
Oh, I'm sure that's cool. I mean,
so it's manual focus.
Stop a light. I mean,
yeah,
not horrible. I got an f4 lens, so.
Right. I think that for me, if there's a selling point to it, it is, filter threads. 15 millimeters is pretty wide on a full frame camera. And by the way, so far, I think they've announced it for the Nikon Z, the Sony full frame cameras, and I think Fuji. Yeah. So Fuji, their crop sensor. So they do have at least one crop sensor camera that mounts to. But again, you're looking at $500, manual focus. You're kind of stuck always having starburst in your photos. So
my thing is I've been stopping myself from buying that Samyang 18 mil. It's 18 millimeters, 2.8. It's got filter threads.
Yeah.
And it's $299.
Now, is that one autofocus or no?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. It kind of.
So, I mean, I've been, because I'm trying to build a new computer, man. So that lens just keeps calling my name, but I've been passing on it. So.
Yeah. Yep. It'll be there.
Right.
When the time comes. Yeah. So it's kind of, like I said, it's an interesting lens from them. It's kind of cool to see something different. I would just kind of consider it almost like getting a fisheye. You're not going to use it all the time. It's got, a trick or two that it does.
15 millimeters is a good focal length, I think, if you want to shoot wide.
Yeah.
I used to have 11 to 16.
Full frame?
Yeah. No, that was the APS-C.
Okay. So is that like 14 or 15 millimeters, like that?
Yeah, when you're on the 11 end. But I mean, that was a little wide. You know what I mean? I always shot that at 16 mils.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know. Not a big fan of the super wide unless it is a fisheye.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So kind of interesting. I would like if anybody in the chat here or that listens to this after the fact, if they do end up with that lens, I'm really interested to see some of the photos that people are taking with it. It's one thing to see
Is it out?
It'll be out soon.
So it's not out yet.
Yeah. So once people start getting their hands on it, I'm hoping we can get some people to share some images from it. I know Mark will. I'm sure Mark will have his hands on it before too long.
Right.
But I want to see real world images, not the cream of the crop photos that some of their ambassadors do that have had it, for 4 or 5 months, take 5,000 photos and pick, the very, 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 very best photo to share.
Right.
So Mark's here. We got to stop talking shit about his lens and his brand.
Hey, we weren't talking shit, man.
But yeah, again, using the filters on something that wide is super cool. I can't do that on my widest lens without a big fat holder on it. That's one
of the reasons I've been eyeballing that 18. Yeah. Filter threads, man.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I love using filters, but once I start getting into the ultra wides, it's kind of a hassle to pull that big.
It's expensive.
Oh God. Yeah. That's another thing. I didn't even think about that. You're right. It's super expensive when you start getting into the big square filters.
I got a 10-stop filter I've had since I bought my first DSLR. It's probably 15 years old. I've used it on every camera system I've owned.
Yeah.
It was $20.
Nice.
I mean,
yep.
I was looking when I had the 7-14 for my Olympus. Look how much just the adapter is alone without the filters.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're going to spend like $100
on the adapter,
just to hold just on the adapter.
Right.
Not to mention, again, the square filters, cheap square filters are, $100+ easy.
Right.
So yeah. Again, so Mark said he gets it next week. So I'll be shooting with Mark next week and giving it a test out. I have to. I gotta at least see it in person, check it out. It's pretty exciting. All right, Jerry, what do you say? Do an image share?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, let's do this. I'll let you go. I'll put you up on stage. Yeah.
Here we go. Drum roll.
Or do I show everybody the other piece of hardware that just came in?
What hardware?
Oh, I didn't tell you about it.
No, what you got now, man?
All right. So.
All right, now we're gonna postpone my image share because now I'm curious as to what you bought already.
Yeah. So I got it last week, and it was I think that if we don't see eye to eye on something, then I'll use this piece of hardware right here.
I was gonna say that was a long pause right there, man.
It was a really long pause. I had to get my chicken out. We're literally turning into like a radio show where the DJs start hitting gongs and doing weird shit.
All right, we don't got time for this, man. We got to share some photos. All right, you see that? Can you see it?
Sure do.
One of these days it's going to get to the point where I'm not going to have to ask you if you can see the image that I'm trying to share.
We're getting there. Better every time.
All righty, here we go. This is believe it or not, this is an iPhone shot.
Dang.
Edited on the iPhone.
Nice.
Lightroom Mobile. I was riding down the street, and I was going past in the opposite direction, and this happened to catch my eye, and I was like, hold on. So I turned around, drove around the block, pulled up, got out, and started taking pictures of these people's house. But I
love how white the light is on that.
Right. Yeah. And this was, and so if you can see the light on the snow on the curb.
Yep.
And the house in the background is more yellow.
Yes.
It's a little warmer.
Yep.
And then so I kind of made sure that I kept the house nice and cool in the center, the snow in the yard. But I thought that turned out pretty cool. iPhone shot.
Nice.
Edited in Lightroom Mobile.
And again, what they say, the best camera is the one you've got with you.
That's right.
Knowing how to use it helps too.
Right. So this is another iPhone shot.
Dang.
That's
lit.
I was I was coming from the bank, and I saw all this damn smoke in the sky, and I was like, something's on fire. So I bend a couple corners, and I get over there, and a damn apartment building is engulfed in flames, man. Luckily, everybody got out. Nobody got hurt. Actually, my cousin lived in that building, lost everything. It's gone now.
Oh my gosh!
Shit burnt to the ground. So I stood out there for a little while and just took pictures as the fire spread from the left side of the building completely through the middle into the right side. It was wild, man. I never really been close to a fire that big.
Yeah.
And the heat and the smoke was crazy. So I was telling somebody at work, like, remember when the Twin Towers came down and it showed all those people in the street just engulfed with that cloud of dust and ash?
Yep.
And like they were completely covered in it. I was in this smoke for probably 2 or 3 minutes, and I was like, yo, it's hard to breathe in here.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first thing I thought of. I couldn't imagine what them people had to go through because they were stuck out there.
Yeah.
I was like, so that's wild, man. Like the smoke got pretty bad, and it was a little uncomfortable. But I hung around for a few minutes and got my photos, and then I left.
So I got a question for you. So when you shoot something like this one in particular, so you said you shot it with your iPhone. Mm-hmm. Now, do you go into like a more manual mode? And
no, this was what I do is this is actually the default camera app.
Okay.
And I try to exposure lock on the flames on the roof.
Okay. So basically you point the camera at it, you tap on the screen where those flames are at, that kind of locks and exposes for that.
Yep. And then I just pulled the exposure down a little bit so the flames wouldn't be blown out.
Gotcha.
And then that's about it. There's nothing really crazy.
Super cool.
And that's it for my photos, man. 2 today.
Nice. That's crazy. Yeah, it's something else to be near something like that when it's happening.
Right.
And taking pictures. I know, unfortunately, I've had the opportunity, I think, to shoot three fires that are like that. So one was actually 2 house fires and a barn fire. And it's weird. Like, I don't know how photojournalists do it. You know, you feel this crazy sense of guilt standing there photographing someone's life burned to the ground. And but part of you feels like, you know, you're documenting something. You know, I'm not there to glamorize someone's loss, but the 2 house fires that I had photographed, I sent pictures to the local newspaper here in town, you know, and they one time they ran, you know, one of the photos. The other time they didn't because they had other stuff. There was somebody that was there before me. I was passing by and he was already there. The third time though, the barn fire was the last time that I photographed anything like that. And I've had a couple of opportunities too since then to stop and photograph. And I haven't because at the barn fire, I was a ways away. And I was using the 40 to 150 Olympus lens, you know, so it's got pretty good reach. And I was back a ways, and I was photographing, the firefighters and the fire hoses and just the barn and what was left of it. It's this big hulk of a smoking mess. And this girl comes marching over to me, and she's got black streaks down her face from smoke and ash, and the streaks are from her crying. And she just said, "Would you please stop taking pictures? My dad just lost all of his animals. He's crushed." And she turned around and pointed at him, and there's this old man sitting on the steps of their house with his head between his knees, and you could tell he was crying. You could see his shoulders bouncing, and I felt sick to my stomach. And I haven't done anything like that since. And big respect to those people that do that, that document that stuff. It jarred me because I had photographed stuff like that before, and nobody batted an eyelash. Nobody questioned it. And that just kind of shook me. So I know what it's like to stand there and take those pictures. It's quite an experience.
Right.
When you were there, were there people that lived there?
Oh yeah, there was people out there. I talked to a couple of guys that were there.
That's probably part of it. You talked to people. I was this dude standing down the street with a camera. It probably looked disgusting to them. I didn't approach and talk to people, and my mistake.
Me, I'm always in the mix.
Yeah.
But you also know that I probably would have kept taking pictures. I don't care what she said.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh my. Emergency surgery to remove your appendix. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, rest up. You know what? Here, look it. You don't need that thing anyways. Good riddance to it. Who needs an appendix?
That's a scary thing, man.
It's terrifying.
My cousin had it done when we were younger, and they said if he would have waited any longer, he would have died. So now, the older you get, you start to get little pains and stuff. So I'm like, do I gotta go to the hospital? You know what I mean? That shit's scary, man.
Yeah. Well, last night my son came downstairs and said, I don't know, I'm allergic to something, I think. And he had these welts all over him. And I'm keeping calm, I'm like, okay, whatever. We took care of it, with Benadryl last night, and he woke up this morning and it was bad. And
it was worse today?
Oh, it's a horror. I'm not going to, I won't share the pictures. It was immediately, I'm like, take a cold shower. We're going to the doctor.
Right.
It was freaky. But then
I thought he got the vaccine at first, man. I was like, holy shit, man.
But so I had welts like that show up. I can't remember the name of it. It's basically it's hives,
Right.
But I had this itch on my wrist today, and I itched it, and I thought, oh God, no, what is it? Like, we're all getting this, Right. The older you get, the more paranoid for sure.
It's 2021. I know it.
It is. You never know what's going on. Mm-hmm. Liana said that she photographed a car being burned during the BLM protest at the Capitol. Yeah, it's crazy.
Liana probably started a fire.
The dumpster fire.
Right.
I know I went with Shelly downtown Grand Rapids the day after the protests that, kind of destroyed downtown Grand Rapids. It's a sombering experience to be around that, And again, like I said, all of that just to say,
I like that stuff, dude. I get excited, man.
It is. It's a rush. But again, kudos to those that go do document that stuff. I mean, it's something I don't have in me to do. Okay, a few photos. I only have a couple, literally. So,
truck.
This is my truck. I mean, you guys were tired of seeing a barn. Now you get used to being tired of seeing the truck. So we had snow the other week. Didn't stick around long down here, unfortunately, but we did have like 2 days where it actually stuck to the branches of the trees. So I went out bright and early in the morning and trudged my way through all those tall weeds to pop off a couple of shots. And so here's kind of like, I'm not gonna say it's a tip, or maybe it is, but when you've got what normally looks like a boring sky, if you can see any kind of shape in the clouds. So this was a pretty flat gray day. And had I just kept this a color image without pushing things just like really crazily, the sky would just be not adding anything to the image. It would just be this flat white, which would kind of blend in with the trees, and it would just make it gross.
Is this legit sky, or is this a sky replacement?
Nope, this is legit sky. So
So I got a sky tip.
What's that?
But and you've probably seen me do this a few times. For some reason, if you hold your cell phone to the sky and then underexpose it a little bit, you can see how much detail is in the sky that your eye's not picking up.
Good tip.
And I do that a lot.
Then that will let you know when you get home and post, you can pull that detail out.
Right. And here's the thing, like there's been days that I wasn't going to take a picture because the sky just looked
Yep.
And then I'd pull my phone out. I'd be like, okay, there's some potential here. So I go ahead and take the shot and go home, and I already know what to expect in post.
I think that is honestly, seriously, probably one of the best tips that we've talked about on this show in a long time. And it's an easy one that everybody can do.
Right, for sure.
Because your phone is going to try to tone down how bright that sky is, and you'll start to see all the structure show up.
Yep.
And that's, I mean, I do it with my eyes because I kind of know how far I can push my camera. But if you're not familiar with thinking like that, like Jerry said, that's a killer tip. Right. So that's kind of what I did here. I mean, I knew that I could pull stuff out of the sky. So that's what I did, is just pulled that one shot out. So, and then last weekend, went to Grand Haven. I had to go to the lakeshore. I haven't been to the lakeshore in a long time. And it was the first day we'd had like sunshine pretty much all day. So Shelly and I just drove all over like West Michigan in the countryside looking for things to shoot for like half the day. We spent like a big chunk of time at the wastewater plant, looking at the birds and all of that, and ended up in Grand Haven for sunset. Ran into Jason Helmer there. He came down, and ran into Dave Behrens. There's a few people there. It was pretty fun. But I was hoping that the clouds would stick around for sunset, and they did. I mean, a lot of people might, not necessarily care for this kind of clouds at sunset, but it was nice because it gave us color. So I was pretty excited for that. So that's just all this is. I was excited to shoot sunset. It had been so long. So this is shot with the Sony A7, and it's a bracketed shot because I wanted to be able to pull out shadow detail on the lighthouse, right, or the fog house at the end. I probably could have done it with a single exposure, but my head is always in bracket mode just for security, I think. And this is shot with the Tamron 28-75. And then the next shot, again, is just a few minutes later as the sun got lower. And I had walked more towards the beginning of the pier so that I could put the sun behind the fog house at the end. And it's the same thing. And this is at the 28 millimeter end of that 28-75. So just wanted it kind of wider. And again, a handheld bracketed shot. Nothing on tripod that day. So that's those. I'm just going to run through a couple here just because I'm really going to push the Tetons because it's such a cool location and I'm excited to go back there and teach there. So just an idea of some of the things that I saw when I was out there. Some of these you may have seen me share on social or on the show in the past, but there are a lot of antelope running around out there, just tons of antelope. There are elk out there. I didn't get a chance to photograph any elk, at least not in a way that I would want to share the images. They're kind of far off in the distance. And even with my longer lenses, I still wasn't lucky enough to be able to get anything decent. But so this was in the spring, obviously. So the moose don't have those big, gigantic racks on them. But if we're there in August, that'll be a different story for sure. And again, the wildlife it's pretty abundant out there. It's pretty easy to find wildlife to shoot out there. So, and of course we'd go back to Mormon Row and probably shoot sunrise there. It's again, a gorgeous spot to be, and maybe return for a sunset also, depending on what the weather looks like. The sun comes up behind the mountain range. You see back there, the Tetons in the morning. And then in the evening, the sun would be setting at your back, which again would put like a nice glow on the barns and maybe illuminate the sky. Again, just another shot along Mormon Row there. This is Jenny Lake. Very cool spot to photograph. And if you look really closely, you can see the infamous Sony black hole of death sensor. Those things suck.
You got to take that out, man.
Yeah. I just hurried up and grabbed a file so I could share something that I I wasn't sure if I had shared before in the past or not. So
right.
No editing on this one, folks. It's just sensor spots and all. But, this isn't even probably the greatest location to shoot from at Jenny Lake. I was just with my kids and they didn't really want to do any hiking. So this was just basically from just a touristy outlook on the path there. And just another view of the Tetons. It'll be a fun workshop. Again, really looking forward to taking a group of people out there and showing them the sights. It'll be an amazing time for sure.
Nice. I want to go.
Come along. It'll be a lot of fun. And I did get a question the other day about going to the Tetons and shooting out there, and so you can fly right into Jackson Hole. Flights from Michigan, I've been looking. If you want to fly direct into Jackson Hole, it's a couple $100 more than it would be to fly into Salt Lake. Salt Lake's about a 4.5 hour to 5 hour drive. If you drive like me, it's about 7 hours because I stop at all the cool stuff.
Yep.
And there's a few cool spots along the way for sure to stop. Probably more than if you don't have your kids and you're traveling with a fellow photographer or a spouse or partner who's cool with you stopping every 10 miles.
Where are you guys flying into? Salt Lake?
Yeah, I think that Mark and I are flying to Salt Lake City and do the drive up again. I enjoyed the drive. It was a lot of fun. You kind of cut through like a corner of Idaho and just some really cool landscape changes coming from the Wasatch Mountains in Utah and working your way up, and you get to these like really high plains areas in Idaho and Wyoming. It's cool.
So I got a question.
Yeah.
So is 5 hours, where's that at? Utah?
Salt Lake. Yep.
So is so the 5 hour drive from here to the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a better 5 hours over there?
Hell yes. Yeah. For sure.
I figured it was.
And it's not, just because, it was a new drive for me. It literally is. There's so much variety in the landscape on that drive. It's
that's why I asked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because here it's flat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you're going to drive through the Wasatch Mountain Range in Utah. So you're kind of busting your way through the mountains. You go past like Park City where the Olympics were, and there's just beautiful views through there. And like I said, you get into these really interesting high plains areas in, I can't remember if we were in Idaho or if we were in Wyoming at the time, but just really you're at a high elevation. So the vegetation and everything is different, and you've got these wide vistas where you can see for infinity, it feels like. And it's funny because when I was a kid, my grandparents retired from farming and bought a motorhome, and they spent 4 months like driving around the United States. And I can remember my grandma saying that when they went through Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, like all up in that region, that it was the biggest sky she had ever seen. And
I'm sure.
And as a kid, I was like, what does that mean? The biggest sky you've ever seen. But then after being out there, I kind of got it.
Yeah.
It was a different look, a different experience for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It was like that when we were in South Dakota.
So I'm looking right now for this one photo that I took out there. And again, it's something I think I probably shared on a previous show, but there might be people watching tonight that haven't seen it. But it's an image that I think just kind of really shows off what that view looked like.
The big sky?
Yes. Okay, here it is. So pull it up and we'll make it full screen. And I'll just do a really quick screen share. Oh, no. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't know what the deal is. My camera just went off air. So let me try and change cameras really quick. How embarrassing. I wonder if my batteries went dead.
I don't know what it is with these podcasters that can't get their stuff right, man.
Right? Ain't that the truth?
Shelly says maybe a workshop It moved. Starts from the airport with a road trip start.
All right. Well, I'll just put this picture up really quick while I try to figure out my camera.
Ooh, that's a big sky.
Very big sky. So, and again, I think because you're at a high elevation and just the way the geography works, what you can't see in that is that those started off as lenticular clouds. And I was trying to find a spot where I could stop safely on the side of the road. And unfortunately, like by the time I got set up, the lenticular clouds had kind of moved, and they had moved and kind of lost their shape. So if you're not familiar, like lenticular clouds are those ones that look like a UFO that's sitting over the top of like a mountain. There we go. Yeah, for some reason, I think I got my camera figured out. But yeah, so lenticular clouds, again, those are the ones that sit over the top of mountains and look like a UFO. But these, you can see they got really stretched out, but they just had this weird texture to them. I don't even know how to explain it. It was just really bizarre. All right. Looks like I don't get a camera back, you guys, unless I dip out. You get to see me looking at the screen. How funny. So here's the thing, Jerry. You get to talk for a minute before I jump back in. Okay?
Alrighty. So can I get a roll call? There you go.
All right, go.
How many people are in here watching live right now? Because I'm curious who we're talking to. And we might have some questions for you guys on upcoming shows.
All right, so we got 23 live viewers right now.
Do we really nice?
But just a handful of people that like to comment. And I get it. Some people are shy.
Right.
They don't want to jump in.
So can we get some people to give us some feedback on us having guests on here? Because me and Jamie been kicking around some ideas of having some more people on here, and we kind of want to know what people feel about that. You guys like seeing us bring guests on here?
Yep.
With a variety of photography genres.
Yep.
And mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. So, like Jerry said, we've kind of talked about again for 2021, not making it just the two of us sitting here all the time, but, bringing on guests, YouTubers, well, when I say YouTuber, I just mean somebody who's a photographer who has a presence, on YouTube. Sometimes they might not necessarily be even a digital camera shooter. There are some great film photographers out there as well.
Right.
And, I know that it's mirrorless minutes and kind of the focus always stayed on that, but it doesn't hurt to open things up to
right. It's a craft.
Other things. Exactly.
Right.
The things that are taught by people that shoot with other equipment are still going to apply to what we're shooting with. So
cool.
So Tammy says that would be really cool. Right. Good.
I mean, I thought it would be, you know what I mean? Like, see what other people do out here other than me and you.
John says yes. Those who shoot different types of cameras. Right. Liana says eat pomegranate. I think that's a different show.
Well, it depends on what the new word for pomegranate is.
No. What's the primary camera we will talk about? So as far as that goes, I think if we have a guest on that's shooting with something different than what we're shooting with, then naturally we're going to have them talk about their equipment. I know for me personally, it's 99% about the craft, but I would be lying if I didn't say that equipment isn't important, right. And it's cool for people to get an idea of what different pieces of equipment are like to work with.
Right, for sure. I mean, both photos I shared tonight were both iPhone photos,
Yeah. Yep. That's a very good point. Generally on our show, we're talking about, Sony, Olympus, Fuji.
Right.
Those are like the big three that we've talked about almost all the time. And yet again, Jerry comes out with 2 iPhone photos that if he hadn't said anything about them being iPhone photos, I don't think there's a single person watching that would have questioned what it was shot on, as right. far as, whether it was a big camera or not. So,
right. We just want to mix it up a little bit, get more people involved, get you guys involved more.
Yeah. Yep. So John's wondering if we know any bird photographers. I just know Scott Bourne. And Mike says he's all about it. So this is good.
Right.
So yeah, so then that, again, I think we'll continue with what we've been doing right now, which is reaching out to some people and trying to secure some guests for the show. And while we're talking about the guests, would you guys like it as like an interview format, where we just got questions, or do you like more of an open dialogue where it's conversational and a little less choreographed and staged?
Maybe some drinks on hand.
Yes. And Tammy says she shoots birds and lots of eagles.
There you go. We got to get Tammy on there.
We're probably going to have to. That's a lot of fun. I haven't shot birds really it's been a minute. Actually, last weekend was the first time I shot birds in ages. So I kind of miss it, and it'd be fun to get somebody on and talk about that. Right.
I haven't shot birds much at all. It's never been my thing.
Yeah.
But it's fun. When I go do it, I'm only with you or Jason. What I mean? You know, two dudes I wouldn't shot birds with.
Yep.
Never been my thing, but when I go do it, it's pretty fun. I enjoy it.
It is. It's like relaxing.
Right.
It
is. I enjoy it.
So Liana says conversational. Donna says open dialogue. Tammy says loose and free. Conversational. Thank you, guys. That's kind of how we like to operate, in case you can't tell.
Right.
And it becomes more looser and conversational the emptier the glasses become, I think, as well. So,
yes, sir. Yeah, that's some good feedback. We need that.
It is. I really appreciate you guys that chimed in and kind of gave us some feedback on that. It's hard to get. You'd think it'd be easy to just say, "Hey, what do you guys think?" And people would just jump in like crazy.
Well, that's why I asked how many people were in here, because you see the same couple people comment.
Mm-hmm.
If we got 23 people in here, and we got a handful of people commenting. It'd be nice to get everybody involved.
Agreed.
But we appreciate you guys that are here every week, and
yep, without a doubt, we wouldn't be doing it if nobody was coming.
Right.
Oh, hey, and then just a shout out to Larry Chesno. I feel bad for him. The keyboard got sent out, and it's been sitting in. I think I messaged him today. He said it shows that it's sitting at his local post office or post office in Detroit. And it's been there for like 7 days.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. That's a bummer. I feel horrible. I wish I would have put something extra in the box for him now.
Is he here in Michigan?
Yeah, actually he is.
Wow. That's crazy, dude.
I could have just taken it to him for as much time as this has taken. I probably should have.
But you know what? I get packages at work via FedEx all the time. And my packages there have been slow too.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Well, the FedEx guy said that they're still kind of busy. So I don't know if because of the COVID stuff, if a lot of stuff got delayed over the Christmas break or what. I don't know. I don't know why you're still busy. We're halfway through January. So
Donna asked if we'd consider adding newbies onto the show.
Yeah, for sure. Why not? I'm down.
Not necessarily, but newbies. Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you what. I think I've said it before in some of the posts, but I'm serious. And I don't know if people realize that I'm serious. Anyone who is interested in coming on and just speaking conversationally about photography is welcome. Just message Jerry or I and let us know that you're interested in coming on. We'd love to have people on. It's fun.
For sure.
This isn't all about.
And you know what? And that tells a story right there, Jamie, that I do this for fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're not doing it for money.
Right. If it wasn't fun, I probably wouldn't still be doing this. But I enjoy the art of taking photographs.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I shoot so much random stuff.
Yeah.
I don't care. I just like taking pictures.
Larry says he's still waiting, and he lives in Romulus. Yeah. I think John brings up a good point, though. I think he's addressing the late shipping. Everybody's shopping online. They are
for sure.
I don't remember the last thing I went to the store to buy. Oh wait, yeah, I do.
Yo, that is loud, dude.
It is super loud. I feel sorry for anyone listening on headphones to the audio version. All right. Well, I think we're probably going to wrap it up. Appreciate everybody coming on tonight, and I can't stress it enough. Seriously, visit the Mirrorless Minutes website and swing over to the workshops page and sign up. Even if you don't know if you're going to go on a workshop anytime soon, just be there, because the free meetups and social events that we're hoping to get done this year will also be posted over there. That's a difference that's this year from previous years. Having a dedicated website versus using a service like Meetup, a little bit easier to manage. So again, if you're interested in meeting up at any time, sign up over there, and then you'll be notified if there's an event in your area, or if it's one that's far away you just want to go to. Jerry's still quiet.
We're gonna do one in Hawaii.
I'd be down for Kauai for sure.
We ought to do one in Japan. I looked at plane tickets to Japan day before yesterday.
Yeah.
Freaking expensive, dude. Like $2,500.
Yeah. Jerry wants to do a workshop in Japan, and the first thing is it's $2,500 just to fly.
Right.
But you know what? It would definitely be a worthwhile trip. I would love to do a workshop that pretty much encompasses almost all night photography on the back streets in places like Tokyo.
But do they got pizza in Japan? If they don't got pizza, I ain't going.
Yeah, I'm sure we could find some pizza.
All right, I'm in.
All right, you guys take care. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and get out there and get shooting. I don't care what the weather's doing. Make some photos, people.
That's right. Even if it's with your cell phone.
That's right. Take care, everybody.
Peace.